As the full moon rises above the fields, shadows begin to move. What lurks within the darkness has glaring eyes fixed upon you. Now join your host Vonda during this hour of the haunted harvest moon.
On this harvest moon.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Haunted Harvest Moon, where we dare to explore and discuss the topics of paranormal, my favorite. So tonight we have a paranormal group out of Virginia. I like doing the paranormal groups, the locals and all around that's out there actually busting butt on doing investigations, reviewing their own evidence. Everything kind of comes out of their pocket. They're not funded by anybody. I like interviewing teams like that. You know, all my listeners out there are in a paranormal group, and we all know what that's like, you know, where you're dragging butt the next day. I call it a paranormal hangover after an investigation, because it takes me 3 days to get myself back into moving order and being able to function. But I like doing these groups because we learn so much. We learn different ways people investigate, review their evidence, and different locations. So being that they're in Virginia, there's a lot of things going on in Virginia. We were talking earlier before the show about the battlefields. So I have a friend that lives in West Virginia, or Virginia Beach, and she's been kind of telling me these things that's been going on, even though she's kind of into the paranormal, kind of believes, kind of don't. She's one of those skeptics. But tonight we have Virginia Paranormal Investigators, and I have Jeff Santos, and I'm sorry if I mispronounce anybody's name, Scott Forsythe, and Lisa Graff. You guys with me?
We're here.
We're here.
All right. So tell us a little bit about your group. When did you guys kind of form a group? How many members? And
Sure.
whoever wants to take over.
We started the group about 2008 is when Scott and I met and got together, and we discovered that we both had an interest in particularly urban legends and historical sites. And Scott was previously with a paranormal group, so we went out to a couple places, and over the next year, we started talking about plans to make our own group and a couple people we were going to include and how we're going to go about conducting investigations and stuff like that. And we started off pretty slow, like everyone does, and then we started taking on some bigger stuff as we were ready for it. Started getting some more private investigations and getting into them.
Cool. So how many people's in your group?
We have 10 right now. Out of those 10, we have 4 slots that are they're very constant. They're there for all the investigations, or the majority of them, and stuff like that.
Right.
And that's, Lisa's our case manager, and then myself. We also have Kim. She's in Virginia Beach. She's our lead researcher. And if we go to a private investigation, she'll look into the area and see what she can dig up about it, stuff like that.
So when do you guys do residential and commercial, or just residential?
We do both. We try to do one a month where we call and have to book the place. Like the last one we did was the Boxwood Inn in Newport News. Okay. And then in between the big ones, we'll get a bunch of calls for private investigations throughout the area.
So privates are pretty popular in that area then.
They are. We had 3 last week alone.
Wow. Usually, the private residentials, you don't, TV's helping a little bit bringing it out there, even though it is TV. But there's still a lot of people out there when you say paranormal, ghosts, spirits, that kind of start freaking out, looking at you like you're in Lululand. So that's great that they're opening up and being more perceptive to the paranormal world that, you know, it's out there, it's real, we all know it, we see it every time we investigate and every time we go through evidence. So it's just getting everyone else out there to jump on board and be believers with us. Now, Lisa,
and that's what a lot of people want too, is confirmation that they're not, you know, seeing stuff. Like
right.
A lot of people, they call and they say, you know, I'm hearing this and seeing this, and I want to see if there's something there, you know, that I'm not crazy.
Right,
you know?
Right. And when you guys do a residential, you know, there is a lot of attention seekers out there that like to, you know, just have some attention and maybe even be on some meds that should,
absolutely,
you know, that can make people be there that really aren't there and that are not spirits. So how many?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, how many of those do you guys come across when, you know, where you go in and you kind of find out, well, that, you know, they're highly, you know, heavily medicated, or they've got some other issues going on?
I'd have to say it's a good percentage, honestly. It's probably maybe 25% of them.
Wow.
Or like that. Yeah, there's a lot of people that, you know, are looking for attention or are just genuinely, you know, out there.
Yeah.
and you know that after you talk to them.
Oh yeah. Once you start doing a face-to-face interview and start asking some questions, yeah, you kind of pick up on it. Or if they're kind of dabbling as well into witchcraft or any of that, you can look around the house and kind of tell what's going on.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So, Lisa, with you being the case manager, what is your role? Yeah. What is your role with a team? How do you proceed when you get an investigation?
Basically, I just started calling around to all the local areas and just asking who those people come in and do investigations. And some people would just shoot us down right away and say, "Oh no, we don't do that kind of thing." But we've had luck with some different areas, and that's basically just what I do. I just call around. Nobody taught me how to do it.
Now, do you call residential? Like if you hear of a resident, you know, there's an old house in the area, and you know we all know that the old historical houses have a lot of potential of being having paranormal activity. Do you contact the private owned people as well as commercial?
The residential people, they contact us.
Okay.
They hear about us from word of mouth, or they find us on, you know, social media or something. But the historical places, yes, I call them and I talk to whoever's in charge over there.
Yeah, sometimes it's a little aggravating because you want to investigate a place so bad, and either their fee is just unbelievable, or they'll shoot you down.
Yeah, we've had several places that just shoot us down, and I don't think they understand, you know, what we're trying to do. But a lot of places, you know, just want to focus on the history, and they like to get into the paranormal stuff. But you know,
right.
Each their own. Just move on and try to find something else.
Yeah, I mean, I wish more people were more open to it. It gives us more places to investigate, obviously. We do mainly just, Creepy Legends does mainly just commercial, so we don't have very many. I think we've done maybe 2-3 residential. I like staying with the commercial properties. Now, you said you also have a research investigator as well. When you guys go into any location, whether it be in a residential or commercial, what is her steps in going into the research?
She'll like say last week we had one. It was down in Virginia Beach actually, and we'll let her know when we get it, you know, and she'll look up the information about it, see what she can, and when we'll either depending on the situation, you know, we'll tell the people when we're there. She'll tell them this is what we found about the area, and this is what could be some of the reason for the activity, and then we'll give the people a report when we're done. You know, within the next week or two, we'll send them a report, and we'll put that all in there, like what the history of the location is and the reported hauntings that are there, and what we picked up with each piece of equipment that we used and everything.
Well, that's cool. I mean, I think it's neat to have everyone in the group a role. Whether it be, Sally is our researcher, I set up the investigations, Jane, Richard, and Chris kind of go over all the evidence. So I think everyone gets involved, and that's what it's all about. Is you're not just doing the investigation, you're involved, you're part of the team, and you're giving your 100%.
Exactly.
So tell us about a couple of the different investigations that you guys got going on. If they're residential, you don't have to reveal names or exact locations. Kind of the most scariest for you in a residential and in a commercial.
Okay. I'd have to say, now what this would be a little out of the ordinary, but one of the most scariest places is it's a local place, and it's hard to determine if it's the historical parts or facts. I mean, the stories about this place have been passed down for about 100 years. People used to talk about going through there with their horse and buggies, and their horses would get spooked and take off, and seeing ghosts of British soldiers and stuff like that. And it's a place, it's called Old House Woods. It's in Diggs, Virginia. And the story behind it has to do with pirates and treasure, and they some of the versions say that the treasure was the British payroll and the pirates stole it, buried it out there, and shipwrecked at sea and never came back. So now they're protecting it. And people hear the shovels and hear all kinds of, see lanterns in the woods and see all kinds of crazy things out there. Whether or not all the legends behind it are true, it's definitely a place where we've actually physically seen some stuff that was pretty startling at first glance.
Kind of tell us about it. Let us know.
Sure, yeah.
We like them kind of stories.
Me and Scott were up there. I was with Scott, and we were with another guy that used to be with our group. This was probably about 4 or 5 years ago. And, we parked up there, and we get out, and we're walking around, and we just start hearing some voices in the woods, and it's out there. I mean, it's the road's a dirt road. It's way out it's about an hour and a half from here. It's way out in the country. So we start hearing these voices in the woods. We couldn't determine the source of them, and we just had no idea where they were coming from. No cars out there or anything. Oh. And then, we tried to be logical about it. There's a chance that there was someone else out there. It was kind of an awkward hour in the morning, but still, maybe there was someone else out there just parked where we didn't see or something. Well, the next time we're up there, we pulled down the same little road / path, and that's where we parked to get out. And we see something pacing back and forth down the path, and we couldn't tell what it was. And we're looking at it. We're trying to make out if it's an animal or what, and it starts coming towards us. And as it gets closer, we see the outline of a person coming at us pretty fast. And my first thought wasn't, oh man, there's an entity coming at us. It was, there's someone that's out here that doesn't have good intentions coming at us. So we hop in the car and click on the lights, and it's gone. There's nothing there in the path. So we have no idea what was there. And then Lisa can share some other experiences up there too, I'm sure.
Any EVPs from this area?
Yeah, we got a really good one. There's an old house that sits there, and we go up to the house, set our recorder down on the windowsill, and we'll ask some questions. And Jeff actually asked, "Hey, do you mind if we're here?" Is that what you said? Do you mind us being here?
Yeah, do you mind us being here? Yeah.
And afterwards, a couple weeks later, we had somebody review the EVPs, and he actually caught a woman's voice saying, "No, that's okay."
Oh, wow. Those are always comforting.
That was the clearest EVP I've ever heard.
Yeah, Class A.
That's pretty cool.
That's always, comforting when, even though you're not at the location at the time you're listening to and going over your evidence, but it's still kind of comforting to know, yeah, it's okay, other than I should drag you or I should possess you. So, We've
Yeah,
got
they
a
wouldn't
few
want
of
to do it.
those. Yeah, we went to a cemetery and we actually got EVPs that says I should drag you and I should possess you. So yeah, that's a little creepy, even though you're not
Oh,
there.
wow.
Yeah, so but that's pretty
Cool.
cool that to be able to see a full operation and too bad you I guess couldn't have stayed around and seen where it was going and what it was going to do. So, but yeah, I mean I think that's cool. So we talked a little bit before we aired about Williamsburg, Virginia, and you said Yorktown, Virginia, I think is what you said, where the battlefields are. Have you guys been out to investigate the battlefields, or do they allow that?
They don't allow it.
They won't even let you out in the daytime?
During the day, yeah, we've been out there during the daytime. We've been through them pretty thoroughly during the daytime. I'd love to do an overnighter, but Yorktown and Williamsburg, the whoever Lisa talked to there, they're pretty against doing anything that could potentially take away from the history of the location.
Right. Right. Yeah, a lot of places are like that. We've been to one that we drove around in our car with the K2 meters out and our video cameras going. Couldn't get out of the car, but you could drive around. So here we are hanging out the windows. But yeah, I mean, it's sad that, a lot of people with with the vandalism that's kind of what happens. But yeah, it's sad. So what other places in Williamsburg or Yorktown besides the battlefields that are real active and haunted? Because, like I said, my friend in Virginia Beach says Williamsburg is pretty much the whole little town.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's quite a few in Williamsburg. And in Yorktown, there's some that are...
Do what, Lisa?
Oh, we got an interesting picture over there. We were walking around, and I thought I felt something pull my hair, and I told Jeff to take a picture behind me, and he did. And in the picture, there was like this floating mist, and you could see a face in it.
Oh, wow.
And
they pulled
really
your
cool.
hair?
What's that?
She pulled or the spirit pulled your hair?
Yeah, well, that's what it felt like. I can't say for sure that it was the spirit that pulled my hair, but I definitely felt something. And the fact that he caught that picture right after I said that,
So, and where was this at?
This is in Colonial Williamsburg. We walked around there.
Oh, wow. Because she's trying really hard to get us to go to Virginia Beach, and I think she knows the only way is if there's haunted things there for us to do. So,
well, we did the fairy plantation in Virginia Beach, and that was really cool.
What was it called?
The fairy plantation?
Tell us about that. I don't think I've heard of that one.
Oh, just good at explaining the details. I don't retain details.
The fairy plantation it's in Virginia Beach, and it started out as being a courthouse, just the one small side of it. They used to have a holding cell downstairs, and they added on to it in I believe 1830. About 100 years after it was built, they added on to it, and they built more, made it into a pretty good sized house. And it had some ties with Grace Sherwood, who was Virginia's only convicted witch. And also there was quite a few deaths there, and it's believed that the spirits from these people are still there. One was a little boy, and the ladies that work there say they know his name. They've heard him around there a bunch of times. He fell out of one of the upstairs windows. It was one of those windows that comes down to the floor. He fell out of it, and he's supposed to be there. And another woman, she made some mushrooms, and I guess some of them were the poisonous kind. So they hit her later on that night, and they found her there on the floor dead. Her spirit's supposed to be there. They have a spirit of a cat. But aside from all the spirits, it's got quite some historical value too. Just in their excavating around there, they found so many old artifacts and stuff, from slave tags to old silverware. to stuff that used to be from the 100 years that it's been there.
Wow. Now, I guess I've never heard of that one. I'm trying to rack my brain. If anybody else in the chat room has heard of it, feel free to pop out some questions about it, because I've kind of, with her being in West Virginia, or Virginia Beach, I've kind of done a little research to see what's around there, and I've never heard of that one. And they let you go in and investigate?
Yeah, oh yeah. Yeah, they're all for it.
Cool. Now, are their fees
and they also give tours during the day, historic tours.
Oh, they give tours during the day, and then you can do a private at night?
Okay. There you go.
Cool. Now, are they pretty costly on their investigations for private?
I think it was I want to say it was $150, $200. Yeah, what was it, Lisa? Do you remember?
A person or for the night?
Yeah, we were there from 8 p.m. and we stayed till 4 a.m. And they're like, you can pack up whenever you're ready. We're in no hurry. They were very accommodating. They set up tables for us. They answered any questions that we had. So they were pretty cool. They were really laid back.
Cool. And they have, it's only $150, $200 for the whole team, or is that an individual cost?
For the whole team.
Wow. That is really cheap. You can't hardly do anything around here under 4 or 5, really. It's pretty, yeah, it gets a little costly. And when you got a small team, it's, 4 or 5 people on a team, $500, that's $100 a person. And we have 2, myself and my husband, and then my sister-in-law and brother-in-law, that, that's $200 for them, and for us, because we're, married. So yeah, kind of high, but we enjoy it. We still do it. So, do you guys cleanse?
Cleanse? No.
You don't cleanse?
No. We just get the evidence and try to find out what's there, and then guide. If we have a client, that some people just want confirmation. If they just want confirmation, we give them what we find. Sometimes we can tell them this is what we found and show them some good pictures and video and audio. Other times we don't really turn up much, so we're honest with them. But if it's someone that's really being bothered by something, we find what we can, and then we have contacts that can do the stuff, so we guide them in the right direction as to what they need done, as far as so that they can sleep at night.
Cool. Now, I got to go back to the plantation for a minute, because the chat room's asking some questions. Now, everybody knows I'm terrible with names and pronouncing names, but Jeff from OPP wants to know if that plantation is near Manassas.
It's not. It's about 2.5 hours, 3 hours from Manassas.
Okay, and so I make sure I put it on here. I hope I probably told it wrong too. Fairy, F-A-R-Y plantation.
F-E-R-R-Y.
F-E, okay. Cool. So that way they can research it. They're all, where's this at? So yeah, I think OPP is going to head that way for some vacation time, and they're getting their places lined up to investigate why they head that way. So, be cool.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
That's an awesome place. And
go ahead. What?
So you guys don't cleanse, you just kind of reveal what you find. Now, do you have someone that if you do go in and you find a troubled spirit and they want it out, do you have somebody to refer them to?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because a lot of teams, they claim, they do cleanse, or they don't have anyone really to refer them to, and, you can be opening a Pandora's box doing that, so that's good that you guys have somebody.
No, we know people that do it, but our team doesn't. We don't advertise cleansings or anything. Like, we don't guarantee that we're going to be able to get rid of any spirits or anything like that. We just tell them, we're going to see what we can determine what's there, and like I said, depending on the case, if it's troubling them, then we do know people that will do the cleansings that we can. They're private professionals that'll come in and do it.
Cool. So, has anyone in your group had a spiritual attack?
No,
Well,
I have.
the closest thing I've ever come across was I felt like a small shove, like on my shoulder, my upper shoulder. But that's the closest thing. And like I was trying to reevaluate it after that happened, and I was making sure I wasn't just tripping over some kind of hole somewhere in the ground. But yeah, I went over it in my mind. I was like, yeah, something just pushed me, and it wasn't a person.
Isn't that funny how we do that? We know the paranormal is real, and we do this, we know it, we have evidence, we've seen full operations, the whole 9 yards. But when something does pushes, pull our hair, scratches us, does funny sounds in your head, you kind of step back and you evaluate the whole thing and keep going over and over and over to make sure that you try so hard to debunk it. And we know it's there, we know it's real, and it happens.
I'm on the phone.
So yeah, I think that's pretty good that you guys do that. That you go back and evaluate: was I doing anything? Was I walking? Was there anything in front of me? So that's pretty cool. How about a demonic spirit? Have you guys ever encountered a demonic troubled spirit?
We've encountered some benevolent ones, but I wouldn't classify anything we found as an actual demon. They're not as common. I haven't found.
Yeah, all my listeners know how I feel about demonic. That's why I always say demonic troubled spirit. Yes, I'm sure Chris, when my husband listens to this, he'll be going, "Here you go again, troubled spirit." We're lead exorcist investigators, but I have a real big problem with the demonic word. With your encounters with a troubled spirit, or maybe not so friendly, what kind of problems did you have? What led you to believe it wasn't a friendly spirit? Was it something in an EVP, or pushing, shoving, scratching?
It's. Oh yeah, go ahead. Oh, well, I was gonna interject there. I haven't had any personal encounters before, but my father actually has once, and he told it to me, just one-on-one, where after he was saying a prayer, he said he got choked, and it was really hard, he thought he was gonna die, but then it let go.
Wow.
And
Now,
he told me that story when I was younger, so I didn't know what to make of that.
Was that at his house or a different location, or?
Yeah, it was. We lived in Gaithersburg, Maryland at the time. But at the time that happened.
In your home?
Yeah, it was in the home, and I wasn't there. I didn't actually see it. He said it was just something that happened when he was by himself, and so yeah. Other than that, I haven't had any encounters from that, but I do take my dad seriously because I know him very well. So,
well, there was no other kind of incidents in the house. Did you ever? I know number one rule is never to do a paranormal investigation of your own house, but did you ever see any shadows, hear anything?
I never did. No, it was in my childhood. I was about, I suppose I was about 11 or 12 at the time. But I never personally saw anything abnormal or supernatural living in the house.
Well, usually at that age, you're more susceptible to it. You're a little more. As we grow older, we close our minds to a lot of things. I'm
right.
sure with you being a preteen, that you'd have been more open and been able to see or hear or notice something was a little different. So have you other two had any trouble with demonic troubled spirits?
No, I never have. Mm-mm.
Now, what was the one you guys were talking about when you were, I'm assuming it was on an investigation where, you wouldn't say it was demonic, but it wasn't very nice.
Was that when I was talking about earlier?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Old House Woods one? The one at Old House Woods? That kid running at it?
When
I
I'd
think
ask,
that's private.
yeah, I'd ask if you guys had had any encounters with demonic spirits, and you said it really wasn't demonic. You wouldn't call it demonic, but you kind of had an encounter with something maybe not very nice.
Yeah. Yeah, now this was more so at a, when we were there, it didn't do anything to us, but we picked up some good evidence, with the EMF and some good pictures and stuff like that. But it was more so that the fact that it was trouble came from the medium that we had with us and from the client's personal experience. It was one where the client was physically getting scratched by the spirit. They were hearing. It was really just. I want to say kind of like a prankster. It was just. It was really messing with them, and to the point where it wasn't just like fun. Like someone being playful messing anymore. To the point where it was like they were starting to get hurt and stuff like that, and they didn't like that.
Right.
Obviously.
Right.
And we took a medium. We got our evidence. We took a medium in there with us, and she said, "Yeah, it's what it is it's a man, and he's just very disgruntled. He's not happy, and he's not happy with them being here, and he's messing with them, like really messing with them."
Now, was this a residential location, or was this a commercial?
Yeah, that was a residential location.
Well, that's cool. I hate that the person had to live in it. Now, the individual that lived in the house, were they complaining of the same thing, that he was a little trickster, and is that kind of what led to your investigation of the residential?
Right. Yeah, they thought it was this demon. They thought they had a demon in their house because it was they were having so many encounters, so much activity that they thought they had a demon.
Cool. I hate that somebody would live like that. That's awful. Now, do you guys do anything other than in the paranormal world other than ghost hunt? Do you do sky watching, Bigfoot?
Yeah, we'll do whatever. Honestly, we did a couple. We did a couple sky watches. I'm all for the UFOs, and I definitely believe there are extraterrestrials out there and other worlds and other planets, and we're all about. We've done some interviews with people that say they've seen some. One was right down there in Williamsburg. A group of people. It was a group of people. They were at a cookout, and they all saw something they couldn't explain, and we got to go interview them.
Cool.
And then we'll go and observe every once in a while. A couple of weeks ago, we were out with another paranormal group, and they actually brought this sound that they picked up from one of the crop circles, and they played it from an iPod through a two-way radio, and the signal's supposed to attract the extraterrestrials. We didn't have any encounters that night, but we tried.
Well, that's cool that you guys skywatch. I really want to go to a very active place in skywatch. I think that'd be cool. Now, is there a lot of activity just in Williamsburg, or is it kind of all over Virginia?
As far as
sky watching
in general?
Yeah. The sky watching part.
The ones I've heard about mostly, I've heard about Williamsburg in that area, like between, I guess, I want to say between maybe Yorktown and West Point. Because I've heard people talked to one guy. He said he saw one up at West Point, and they got their own urban legend up there about a ghost train. So they were actually up there checking out that, and they saw, you know, something they couldn't explain in the sky. And then there was a couple sightings in the historic triangle, which is Jamestown, Yorktown, Williamsburg. Those are the ones that I read about. And then another guy had contacted us, and him and a group of people had seen one in Williamsburg.
Now, what's the story with the ghost train?
Yeah, the ghost train, it's called Coho Crossing, and it's up at West Point. I believe it's also referred to as the King William area, King William, Virginia.
Okay. And
people would sit at this railroad crossing, and they'd see a light traveling down the tracks in the course that a train would take. And the story behind it is that a train was coming down the track loaded with Confederate soldiers, wounded Confederate soldiers, and the guy who was supposed to pull the switch, he fell asleep, and he wakes up to the sound of the train barreling down on him, far too late to pull the switch. It derails, kills him and everybody else. So this ghost light is supposed to be that train, and people see it traveling down the tracks on certain nights.
Well, that'd be cool to sit there and watch.
It'd be awesome.
Yeah. So how about Bigfoot? You guys been out looking for Bigfoot?
Not so much Bigfoot. We have been trying to get on this one. There's this one thing they're doing a casting for where they send a team out into the wilderness to look for. It's not like in search of Bigfoot, but I guess maybe it kind of is. I don't know. But you basically go out and they drop you off and you go out and look for Bigfoot and look for evidence and stuff like that. So we've been trying to take part in that. Probably not going to have much luck, but we're definitely interested in looking for them.
Cool. Yeah, I think it's fun. It's definitely different than the ghost hunting part of paranormal. So you guys they're asking for different paranormal teams to come out and do this? Is that what the casting is?
Yeah, they're looking for a paranormal group that has survival skills. Because what they do is they take you off the grid. I guess they were still in the early stages of it, or they still are, I guess, but they take you and they, to a place where there's a cryptozoological creature believed to reside, and they set you free in the woods there with a camera crew to go and find evidence of them. And meanwhile, while you're looking for evidence of them, you got to hunt and catch your food and stuff like that too. So that's you gotta have survival skills. But
I'd be out on my team because I'm a city girl. I don't rough it. Going Bigfoot hunting. Going Bigfoot hunting for maybe 3 or 4 hours, and I can come home and get in my bed and take a shower in the morning or before I go to bed. Now I can do that, but to be dropped off in the middle of nowhere and roughing it and eating bugs and not my thing.
Yeah, we got this email a while ago, and there were 3 different things they were casting for, and 2 of them they either weren't interesting or they didn't fit our team at all. I look at this one, I'm like, oh yeah, Scott will do this, and I call up Scott and Chris, this other guy who used to be with us, and like, you guys want to see if we can shoot him a little resume? Like, yeah, so we did.
I think now my husband signed on Chris has signed on in the chat room, and he would correct me, but I think he got a similar email. It was like 3 different kind of castings, and I think one of them was survival because we said him and Richard would be fine, but me, Jane, Sally wasn't doing it. So, and I can't remember.
Yeah, it looked like one of those things that they send out to like all the groups. I guess. I don't know.
And I can't remember what the other 2 were. I mean, we I think maybe fit one of them, and then the survivor, but like the survival. But I was like, you and Richard can go all for that. I'm not. I'll sit back and watch you if you ever make it on the TV and say, yeah, yep, we know him. So what kind of techniques do you guys use on an investigation? What kind of equipment? And do you guys do anything or use any equipment that's kind of out of the norm of what other teams use?
Not so much. I mean, we're fairly simple. fairly basic. We use EMF detectors. We use thermometers, infrared thermometers, and ambient thermometers, night vision cameras, some motion lights, some surveillance cameras. Nothing to it. We'll pick up something. We'll see something interesting. Try something here and there. Like we picked up a thermal pad. It's supposed to be able to leave a handprint on. Tried that. We didn't have any results from it, but we're still trying it. Yeah, we don't use too high tech stuff. And when we go there, we usually say it's a private one. We'll interview the client and get their story and ask them some detailed questions. We try to, we tell them we want any evidence we present to not be debunkable. You know what I mean? So we want to make sure that any evidence we present is going to be hard evidence. So we rule out any natural explanation, and we make sure that what we are seeing in their pictures can't be recreated with a car going down the street, or someone outside with a flashlight, or whatever the case may be. We rule out all that stuff.
Okay.
We go about the investigation.
So, go ahead.
Yeah. So and for the we just do go through. We'll get our baseline with the EMF, see what the levels look like, and I think there's a few different things with that, because if there's high EMF levels in a certain area, not only can it affect it can affect people, make them lightheaded and dizzy and stuff like that. But not only that, I also think if spirits are in the area, they can be drawn to this because it can give them the energy they need to manifest. They can feed off these high electromagnetic fields. So we look for, any areas like that. And then also it tells us, if we're in an area or a part of the house where we didn't have high EMF earlier and then we get a spike, there's obviously something there that wasn't there before. So that's also, really helpful with us too.
Cool. So you guys said, have you seen the thing that's blast on Facebook right now? It's the, I just lost my train of thought. It goes on your iPhone. You buy the iPhone, I think it's actually a case that your iPhone fits in. It's Flare, the Flare, come on, somebody in the chat room help me, because I've lost my train of thought. I've seen it all over Facebook, and it's like $300 and some, and it's for an iPhone, and it looks like, to me, it's a case that goes over your iPhone, and it uses it as, I call it the thermal imager. Have you guys seen that?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
No, I haven't heard of it.
I've seen it so many times, but, I'm kind of hesitant, because with one, you're using your iPhone, and how accurate is that? And it's $300 to buy this case thing that goes over it.
Yeah, that sounds a little risky.
Yeah. So I'm waiting to interview a team that has actually bought one, so I can see what their reviews are for that. Because I just can't see. Yeah, $350. It's up there in price, and like I said, it's just something that snaps over the top of your iPhone, from what I can see out of the pictures. But I don't know.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
If it works, it's good, because I know those thermal imagers are up in the couple $1,000 range.
Yeah, they are. We've looked at that, and that's on our want list. But I think it's going to be there for a while.
Yeah, maybe when Kmart gets them in, I can put it on layaway.
Yeah, that's me. Walmart or Kmart, we can put it in layaway.
By the way.
We have the night vision goggles and the binoculars, I guess it is, where you can see up in the skies. So we'll have to wait until it comes out to where we can layway it. Or they come way down on their pricing, because it's just too much.
Yeah.
So we had a question from Gene in the chat room, and you kind of touched base on it a little bit earlier, Lisa, on your EVP, but they wanted to know, he wants to know, what piece of evidence have you got that, you're real proud of, that your group was able to get this kind of evidence?
Well, we have a lot of luck with our pictures.
Pictures as in orbs, or pictures as in mist, or body apparitions? Faces?
Full-on faces. You can actually see their facial features, which is really cool. Actually, at the fairy plantation, we took a group photo outside, and one of the workers, she was taking the photo. She said, if there's any spirit that wants to be in the picture, come on and be in the picture. And then later, when we reviewed the photo, you could see a face of a little boy in one of the windows, peeking out at us.
Wow. And is there history of other teams maybe catching EVPs of a little boy at that place, that location?
The ladies believe
Yeah.
The lady what?
The ladies believe that because that was the place where I said the little boy fell out of the window upstairs.
Yep.
So they believe his spirit is still there. They've heard him and heard him walking around.
Did you take toys?
I don't know if they've actually heard his voice or not.
Did you take any toys or anything when you went on that investigation, since there was history of a little boy?
There's a nursery upstairs that has a couple bins with toys in it. So we did a couple experiments with those. We set them out, see if they would move, to pictures and stuff like that. But they never moved.
Never when you want them to. Wow.
No.
So any other kind of evidence that's a real wow factor for the team?
Yeah, we got a good face in there's three pictures that stand out the most to me, and it's because, I've looked at pictures and I've seen ones where people will say there's something there, and I'm looking at it sideways and everything, trying to figure out what they're talking about, But these ones, when I was looking over the pictures, as soon as I zoomed in on them, I see clear as day, and when I show them other people, they see them too. And the one where Lisa had mentioned, the fairy plantation, the other one, we got an old woman. You can see this face, it was a distant picture of the room, and we zoom in. As soon as I'm zooming in, you just see the face right there. It kind of sets you back a little bit, like, wow, that's actually in our picture. You see this old woman, pointy nose. She's got some long, bushy hair, and she's just kind of peering around the window, plain as day. It's not something that looks like I can kind of see his face, like you can see this face. Everyone we show it to, just wow, that's awesome. And it turned out a woman had died up in that room upstairs, and that was at the Ramsey House, which is in Alexandria, Virginia. It was the first house in the town. The guy, Ramsey, he actually had it sent down from Dumfries, I believe, on a barge, so he would have the first house in Alexandria.
Oh, wow.
And then another one was at Scott, it's a tree stump at Lake Shawnee Amusement Park. It's out in West Virginia.
Oh, yeah.
And you remember that one?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I never felt or saw anything when I was sitting on the stump, but the picture showed something pretty clear there. When so didn't you take that picture, Jeff?
Yeah, I took it. And he's sitting there, and there's like a mist around him, but then behind him, you can see like the two eyes. You can see the mouth. You can see the head, and it looks like a woman in almost like a cloak, kind of coming sideways out of the lake from behind him.
And where was this at again? I'm trying to write all these places down.
Lake Shawnee Amusement Park. It's in West Virginia, and that place is awesome.
And they let you investigate there?
Yeah, it's privately owned now, and he's big, and he believes all these spirits are there.
Wow.
It's been on a couple TV shows, Scariest Places on Earth, and I forgot what the other one was, but yes, it's a pretty big one, and that's the first one that we ever did with the current group back in January. So
Cool. A lot of amusement parks won't let you go in and do an investigation. That's why it surprises me. You know, we've tried Kings Island.
It's an abandoned amusement park. It's been closed. It hasn't functioned as an amusement park for many years.
Oh, okay.
It's
Yeah, it
built
closed down in
on
like 66.
it's built on Indian burial ground. So
Ooh.
that alone contributes to so much activity. A lot
Right.
of children were killed. So,
Wow.
yeah.
Yeah, that'd be an awesome place to investigate. How many times have you guys
Yeah,
been
it-
there? Just once?
Just once, and he let us camp out. He let us go there. We get there at 6 o'clock on a Saturday, and he's just like, leave whenever tomorrow that you want to. Lock the gate.
Cool.
So we camped out there, and they still have the Ferris wheel, the old swings, the ticket booths, and when he I guess he used to work at the park when he was a kid, or when he was younger, and he bought it in the 80s. It closed down in the 60s. He bought it in the 80s, and they were digging to make a dirt racetrack, and they found 13 or so Native Americans buried in the ground. So they
Wow.
stopped digging, and they also found the remains of what used to be some Native American villages. So it's just been sitting there, and now he lets groups go in there and do the investigations.
Yeah, that's the field that I got shoved in that I was talking about earlier.
Oh, okay.
When we were walking through that field, we were walking. It was about 4 or 5 of us, and nobody was really close enough behind me. I mean, there was somebody off to the left, but nobody was really immediately behind me to be able to shove me like that and, play any games, because I looked immediately behind myself. They were still just walking like normal. So.
I'll definitely put that one on my bucket list. That sounds like a cool place. With all the history and activity, would be just unbelievable. Wouldn't know where to start to investigate. It'd be so big. So definitely on my bucket list.
We split it up a little bit, and we split up into groups and went and checked out different areas and rotated through. We had all night, so we took our time.
Cool. Now, does he charge a lot to do an investigation there?
No, it's $200 for the night.
Wow, you guys got it down there. You guys got it going good. $200 for investigations for a whole team. Wow.
I know.
Well, tell us, we had a question, David from Newcastle Paranormal, wanted to know if the stuff that you guys have talked about tonight on the show, all the evidence, is that on your website or on your Facebook page?
Yes, some of it. Let me see. If you go to our website, there's a tab that says investigations. So the fairy, I don't believe the fairy plantation picture's up there yet, but you can see the Lake Shawnee ones, and you can also see the ones from the Ramsey house.
Okay.
If you go under investigations and click on the picture, it'll take you to we set up Tumblr pages for each one.
And what is your website?
It's vaparanormal.com.
I'm putting it out in the chat room so they can have.
And we also have all these pictures posted on Instagram too. A lot of them.
Okay.
And that's just at Virginia Paranormal.
Cool. I haven't got into the Instagram thing yet. I have enough trouble keeping up with Facebook and Twitter.
I was a little slow getting into it, but once I got into it, I'm hooked now. As soon as we get a picture, you gotta get that up on Instagram.
Yeah, I'm a late bloomer in that. So, but yeah, that way they can check out everything on your web page, and your Facebook page is Virginia Paranormal Investigators. You can find them out there. And what upcoming investigations do you guys have coming up?
Well, we got we got a private one on Friday in Virginia Beach. A private one up in King William or Alet next Friday, and then we have the Ghostbusters. They're bringing the Ghostbusters back for the 30th anniversary. So the Regal Cinemas down here, they're going to have us set up in their lobby during the day when it comes out. So that'll be awesome. For as far as big ones, we have the Exchange Hotel set for November, and it was a hospital during the Civil War. It's about 2 hours north of here, and it's battlefields all around it, so they brought people right in, and their methods were pretty crude back then and stuff. So,
I love
there's a good chance
investigating
there's
the
a lot of
hospitals.
activity still.
Yeah, I love investigating the hospitals. I think those are a lot of fun. You never know what you're going to get with the hospital. So,
Right.
So we're getting to the top of the hour. Is there any events, anything going on that you want to kind of promote a little bit that's happening out there? Any events that you guys might be going to? Any big events that's going on in West Virginia or surrounding areas?
Well, like I said, we will be at the Ghostbusters anniversary premiere. And,
cool.
That's on the 30th at Regal. It's at the Regal Cinema in Tab, Virginia, right near Newport News there, Killen Creek. We'll be there from 1 to 9 in the lobby. Then we got Paramericon, which is up in Manassas, Virginia, and that's in September 27th, I believe, and they're going to focus on women in the paranormal field, and they're going to have some different groups, some different paranormal retailers and psychics and everything else, so it should be a good time.
Now, I know it's a good ways from you guys, but the Point Pleasant, the Mothman Festival, have you guys heard about that?
Oh, I'd love to go to that.
Yeah, that's September 20th. September 20th, 21st, I think it is. Yeah,
Ooh.
It's in Point Pleasant. Yep, we'll be there for that one. Yeah, it's
yeah, that'd be awesome.
They've got a Facebook page, Mothman Festival 2014, I think is what it is. If you put Mothman, you'll probably find it. But yeah, they've announced all their guests and their speakers, and so yeah, it'll be pretty cool.
Wow.
So yep, we'll be there. So you'll have to come. You have to make the road trip and come and see me.
That'd be awesome.
Well, we're getting to the top of the hour, guys. So I'm going to cut your night off here and let you guys enjoy the rest of your evening. I thank you guys so much for taking time out and being on my show. It was fun. I love learning about all the groups that's out there and different things and investigations that they've been on. I could sit here for hours and talk about paranormal.
Well, thank you for having us. It was great being on the show.
Hey, no problem. You guys keep in touch. And Lisa, you got my email, so keep in touch with me on different investigations and that you guys are going on. You want to get back on and talk about them, just let me know.
Will do. I'll keep you updated.
All right. Thanks, guys. Have a good night.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, everyone. Now, for all you listening, do yourself a favor. Go lock your doors and close your blinds, and don't forget to look under the bed tonight. However, it may not do any good, because whether you believe it or not, the paranormal is real and it's all around us. I'm Vonda, and you've been listening to the Haunted Harvest Moon on Z Talk Radio. Have a good night, everyone, and I'll talk to you on Facebook.